Provided attention. Now, the CTD from the FID, Mr. Selvin Hay.
Good morning, everybody. Every time I come to this location, I have this feeling. I won't use the word nostalgia just yet. It's not that long. But I feel like I'm back home. Major General Anderson, Commissioner, and my former boss, Colonel Desmond Edwards, also my former boss, Mrs. Velma Ricketts, not my former boss, but my very good friend, and Mr. Gary Dixon. We are from the FID. Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen, and those who are watching us on streaming, this live stream. What are we on, YouTube? Okay. Good morning in YouTube and Facebook land. This event is very special to us at FID, very special to me as a CTD. But before I go any further, I heard Garth mentioning the 4 major law enforcement entities. I think for a long time, it's the first we're having all 4 heads sitting together in one room. Don't speak too loudly. Let us get out of here very quickly. This event is being staged under the theme broadening the application of POCA across law enforcement. It is another public declaration of the FID's continued effort to build partnerships and work together in ridding criminals of their ill-gotten gains as we strive to get everyone in full alignment with the application of the Proceeds of Crime Act. Specifically today, we are strengthening the engagement of our law enforcement partners and connecting with the public in a more meaningful way. For law enforcement, over the course of the current financial year, the FID signed 3 MOUs, and a 4th will be signed in very short order. Those already signed are with the JCF, MOCA, and the Integrity Commission. Next will be the Jamaica Customs Agency, which will be done in very, very short order. To provide a practical, the purpose of these MOUs is to provide a practical logistical framework for the provision of information sharing, analysis, financial profiles, or documents, or reports for the purpose of prevention, detection, investigation, and prosecution of corruption, financial crime, and revenue collection. To facilitate joint investigations and support each other in parallel investigations into acts of corruption, financial crime, and revenue collection. To strengthen all the organizations' response to, among other things, public corruption, money laundering, major organized crime, fraud, and other financial crimes. Today we will be presenting JCF to JCF, MOCA, and the JCA with cash Seizure booklets and POCA aid memoirs. The booklets will greatly assist officers undertaking cash seizure investigations. It contains the necessary documentation to deal with an initial cash seizure. This is to ensure a consistent and informed approach in the manner that which cash seizures are carried out, and thereby help to standardize the process across the various agencies. Meanwhile, the aid memoirs will be used to level the awareness of law enforcement officers of key elements relating to the prosecuting of money laundering offenses, and other such offenses under POCA. Given the strategic thrust to increase the use of the Proceeds of Crime Act across the law enforcement agencies and other sectors, we must intensify the country's scope in conducting more comprehensive financial investigations. We are to enhance our collective capabilities if the provisions of the POCA and financial investigation techniques are to be used successfully and optimally. Then it is necessary for all agencies to collaborate in this endeavor. Today's activity is a reminder to the nation that wherever financial crimes or acts of corruption, and specifically money laundering, occur, Jamaica's law enforcement and anti-corruption agencies are ready to act. At the FID, we are always prepared to conduct financial investigations in the public and private sectors, and then to contribute to the evidence-based prosecutions in court. We are committed to protecting the integrity of the financial system against abuse by criminals. In engaging the public, having identified the risks to which Jamaica is exposed as a result of corruption, transnational organized crime, and money laundering, and other financial crimes, we must continue to strengthen and implement measures that mitigate these risks. The public is a critical part of the thrust. Our citizens need to be on board. Today we are launching a digital public education campaign dubbed POCA and You, because POCA is about you. Primarily to our young men and women who, instead of maximizing their potential to build our society, become enamored with criminal lifestyles and ill-gotten gains from nefarious activities. You, the parents and other relatives who aid and abet criminals in their attempts to legitimize dirty money through various means. Through this campaign, we are inviting the public to learn about POCA and above all, breaching it. We are encouraging parents to discourage their children from choosing a criminal lifestyle. The campaign will encourage the citizenry to provide us with information and on criminal activities so that we can tackle it effectively. The campaign will be explained in a greater detail by other speakers. I think Garth is going to go in more details. This journey is driven by a strategy supported by key partners. The recently concluded National Risk Assessment noted the following. There is a need to increase the use of POCA throughout Jamaica in order to facilitate removing the benefit from crime, targeting facilitators of money laundering, protecting the financial system against abuse, and deterring persons from engaging in crime. It will also go a far way in ensuring that Jamaica's anti-money laundering and countering of terrorism financing regime meets international standards, as well as in being compliant with the FATF 40 recommendations. Delivering on the National Risk Assessment, as well as building our capacity to reduce financial crimes, is a result of critical support from our partners, both locally and internationally. This includes the United Kingdom. The UK's contribution to the project has been very tremendous. And Mr. Gary Dixon, our senior consultant at the FID, our senior UK consultant, will elaborate shortly. The Jamaican financial system and the country on a whole will benefit greatly from the aforementioned activities and strategic partnerships. Our effectiveness in law enforcement will be enhanced, and we should see better outcomes as we work together to take the profit from crime and take the benefit from crime. It is also very important that we be able to confidently meet our international obligations, to improve our standing in the global financial system. This will be extremely beneficial to our beloved country. So, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you once again to engage us and to listen to the presentations. And as we launch this campaign, I want you to help us to reach all the various areas, sectors, and captive audiences under your responsibility and sphere of responsibility. So once again, thank you.
Thank you very much, Selvin, for sharing that bit of information, for contextualizing this morning's event. And what stuck out at me is POCA and you, because POCA is about you. It's not just about law enforcement. I think I had said it sometime before, we can't arrest ourselves out of a problem, right? So what we've got to do is ensure that we get the public on board, right? And then we can do our job. And the truth is, if you, the public, follow the rules and regulations, don't breach POCA, then Selvin won't have so much work to do, right? Commissioner won't have so much work to do, right? And overall, though, the big benefit is that we'll have a better, well-functioning society, right? So thank you very much, Selvin. Now, to provide some context on the support from the UK, we have senior UK consultant at the FID, Mr. Gary Dixon.
Good morning, Commissioner Anderson. Good morning, Commissioner Ricketts, Director General Edwards, Chief Technical Director Hay, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure today to bring greetings from the UK's Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office to this, the launch of the initiative broadening the application of POCA across law enforcement. The Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office has been working closely with the Financial Investigations Division, FID, since 2012 as part of its Serious Organised Crime and Anti-Corruption Programme here in Jamaica. It has been assisting FID to enhance its capability and capacity in relation to the application of the Proceeds of Crime Act. This assistance has taken many forms over that period, including the embedding of subject matter expert technical assistance within the organisation, of which I'm lucky enough to be one. Also, the identification and delivery of training courses and development opportunities, and the supply of equipment being some other examples. FID itself has long recognised that success in ensuring that criminals are lawfully deprived of the benefit they derive from their criminal activity requires a joined-up approach by law enforcement. This was echoed by the findings of Jamaica's mutual evaluation undertaken by the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force on behalf of FATF, and also, as mentioned by CTD Hay, in the country's own National Risk Assessment, the NRA published in August last year. As well as formalising relationships with key partners such as the JCF, MOCA, Jamaica Customs and the Integrity Commission with the signing of MOUs, FID has consistently opened their training opportunities to the wider law enforcement elements across Jamaica. This has included not only investigators, but also prosecutors and other members of the judiciary. This is especially true in relation to the training courses for financial investigators. With the assistance of the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office, FID engaged with experts from both the UK and Jamaica to design a bespoke training course for financial investigators that, whilst incorporating international best practice, is predicated on Jamaican legislation and case law. This course is delivered to students from all law enforcement agencies in Jamaica, including, again, not only staff from the JCF, FID, MOCA and Customs, but officers from the Integrity Commission, the Auditor General's Office and the Passport and Immigration Agency. It is entitled the Financial Investigation Training and Accreditation Programme, FITAP. And I must at this point recognise and applaud Mr. Alan Johnson and Mr. Mark Wilson, the other technical specialists embedded at FID for their work in designing the documents produced here today, and also thank those of you who have assisted by reviewing and suggesting pertinent changes. Thank you all. The design and rollout of the aid memoir and the cash seizure booklet is the next step in this shared journey. The participants on the FITAP courses learn the same things, irrespective of which organisation they belong to. They need to be completing the same paperwork in the same cases, whether it be a police officer from Westmoreland or a customs officer at Norma Manley International Airport. The uniformity of this approach should ensure that the best evidence is gathered in these types of cases. The benefit of this standardisation will not only impact the organisations themselves, but will extend to the judicial system, where both prosecutors, defence attorneys and judges will become familiar with a format that should ensure consistency in cash seizure matters. Today's launch will be followed in short order by the introduction of other similar booklets, forms and documents, all designed to assist officers across law enforcement in ensuring that the Proceeds of Crime Act is robustly applied to all cases when it is suitable and necessary to remove the benefit of crime from those persons who break the law. An example of this is the Liaison Officer Initiative. Officers from the Constabulary Finance Unit, based at FID, will be appointed to every parish and specialised unit as a liaison officer, someone that local investigators can call on for advice and guidance in the application of the Proceeds of Crime legislation as they go about their daily investigations. The Proceeds of Crime Act not only applies to the persons concerned in the original offence that realises a benefit, but also allows action to be taken against those who assist after its commission in relation to the proceeds. By broadening the application of POCA across law enforcement, we will ensure that all persons involved in the crime are brought before the courts and the benefit is removed from that criminality. Lastly, I would just like to congratulate you all on this important step in joining together these agencies in the effort to broaden the application of POCA across law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Gary. Kind of gives you an idea of what goes behind this program. Again, it's about collaboration. We can't do it alone. We have to make a joined up or take a joined up approach to tackling this monster. All right? Now, just before the Commissioner of Police addresses us, again, sticking to that theme of collaboration, the Constabulary Financial Unit, right, is made up of officers of the JCF. They are housed at the FID. And this morning we have with us the head of the CFU, Inspector Brenton Williams. And Brent, I just wanted to stand and be recognized this morning. I'm not sure if we'll probably get a picture of Brent a little later on. Right? But what I can say to you out there who may have some kind of criminal intent, certainly in the area of financial crime, you don't want to see Brent. He is the last man you want to see, because game over when Brent entered the scene, right? So thank you very much, Brent, for being here and for all the hard work you put in. And with that said, I now invite, and oh yes, thank you so much. From the Ministry of National Security, we have Mrs. Michelle Lemon with us. Again, collaboration, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of National Security, blending together to get rid of financial crime out of this country, right? So, with no further ado, I now invite the Commissioner of Police, Major General Anthony Anderson.
Good morning. Good morning, colleague, heads of agencies, and Mr. Dixon, ladies and gentlemen, and persons who are joining us online. Good morning to you all. It's a genuine pleasure to be back in this room with some of our key partners for the joint press briefing. Today is indicative of the continued commitment of the law enforcement community to work together. The strategic focus of us, the JCF, is subdivided into three main areas: our law enforcement activities, our modernization and transformational initiatives, and our partnerships and stakeholder engagements. What we want to emphasize today are those stakeholder engagements and partnerships. Recently, as you're probably aware, the JCF and the JDF launched our joint anti-gang task force. It was designed to bring greater synergy in our joint operations by producing a highly trained, professional cadre of police and military personnel tasked with going after guns, gunmen, and gangs. Now, we know that a key pillar of any credible crime reduction strategy, especially when organized crime is involved, is the removal of their money and other resources which are utilized to buy guns, corrupt public officials, pay contract killers, and live a lavish lifestyle at the expense of other people's pain. Last November, the JCF and FID signed a memorandum of understanding declaring our commitment to developing greater collaboration between our two entities in the investigation and forfeiture of the proceeds of crime. 4 months later, we are back. Not only with FID, but also with MOCA and Jamaica Customs as we take our collaboration a step further. Recently, the FID shared with us their new cash seizure booklet, which guides law enforcers in how to investigate and effect cash seizures. It's a bit of a tongue twister. This is another useful tool of improving investigative capacity as we expand the use of poker into other offenses, such as the illicit trading in firearms and predatory larceny. The FID has recently reported that between 2019 and 2021, they recovered approximately Jamaican $1.7 billion and forfeited US $1.9 million. Through this partnership, we expect to see even greater results. The only way we'll permanently dismantle criminal organizations is if we target the ill-gotten gains that they use to fund their activities. Just last week, we saw 2 examples of the benefits of stronger strategic partnership. Over the course of 1 week, the JCF managed to seize 44 illegal guns and arrest 3 persons in connection with the 21 that were discovered by Jamaica Customs. That is, we're strengthening that customs partnership in a big way. We're going to see a lot more activities in relation to that. We also seized another 23 weapons off of the road, and that was in a partnership largely with the Jamaica Defense Force. We've charged 14 persons so far relating to those seizures. So it's important for the entire country to appreciate the fact that the gangs are bigger than just the gunmen who are pointing guns at people. Gangs thrive because of the broader support systems that they rely upon. Criminal organizations need money to thrive. It is the catalyst that strengthens and bolsters everything else they do. The girlfriends and mothers who collect the extortion monies. The school friends who register assets in their name. Businesses that knowingly help them launder money. The family members and friends who try to clear the illegal weapons and ammunition. All of them are part of the gang, and all of them are our target. As of today, we will see additional examples of the law enforcement community operating in a coordinated way to seize the unexplained wealth that these criminals are amassing. This is just the beginning. Now, through the collaborative efforts of the police working with the FID, Customs, and MOCA, you will see more assets seized. You will see criminals forfeiting their ill-gotten gains. Ladies and gentlemen, let me serve notice today. We are going after the money. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The criminals we are dealing with are not poor, unattached youth who are hungry and destitute. Far from it. These are men and women who have made a conscious decision to pursue a life of crime. and violence. They are amassing considerable amounts of wealth, and they are using that wealth to purchase guns, to hire gunmen, and support gangs. Indeed, many of these criminals have come from poor communities. But once they amass their wealth, they opt to live lavish lifestyles, showing no regard for the people they grew up with. They would much rather engage in money-burning contests than help the poor and needy. They are quicker to wash their high-end vehicles with Hennessy than to fund a school feeding program. These people are using their wealth to hold entire communities to ransom. The good news is that you, the public, can support the strengthened partnership. We all can improve collaboration, and if you see something, say something. If you know something, share it. Criminals thrive when good people make the decision to do nothing. So we are going after the money, but we feel free to direct us as to where to find it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, General Anderson. I sincerely hope that the members of the public will take you up on that invitation to provide the information, right? I don't like it to hear when the commissioner say, we're coming after the money. Like, that would strike fear in me, but then I'm a law-abiding citizen, so who am I, right? But you make a very good point. You make a very good point that a lot of these criminals are amassing wealth and using it to literally arm themselves like a little militia, rather than, and to stunt and floss, or whatever these young people say these days, right? Rather than uplifting the community. No, I'm not saying you should go about it like a Robin Hood, right? Get the money legally, help your community, right? But again, ladies and gentlemen, it goes to show the spirit of collaboration. Each of us can do it alone, but how far can we go? We can achieve so much more when we're all on board together, pushing in the same direction. And speaking of pushing in the same direction, we've got Colonel Desmond Edwards, the Director General of MOCA, to share some remarks as we continue in our spirit of collaboration.
Thank you very much, Mr. Masters of Ceremony. Colleagues, friends, General Anderson, Selvin, Commissioner Ricketts Walker, Gary Dixon, and our friends who have joined us online. Good morning, and again, welcome to this press briefing where we are stressing our collaborative effort in tackling the money laundering cancer that we face. Now, the activities of organized criminal networks operating both locally and transnationally have generated, as has been said, significant illicit proceeds, which in turn negatively impacts Jamaica's national security. And it is against this backdrop that our efforts, collective efforts to bolster law enforcement capacity through partnerships have been embarked upon to help to curtail this threat to our national security. I want us to be clear how illicit funds impact us, because I suspect that maybe some of us are not as aware of the impact. But economically, illicit funds undermine legitimate businesses. So enterprises find it hard, legitimate enterprises find it hard to compete against entities who are engaged in laundering these illicit funds. Illicit funds finance the procurement of legal weapons and ammunition and fuels the cycle of violence that we have all been faced with as a country. Illicit funds empower criminal organizations. It increases their corruptive influence and enhances their capacity to undermine established bureaucratic processes. It should be pointed out also that the accumulation of these illicit resources is what drives these organizations, these enterprises, and those who facilitate their activity to exist. This is their reason for being, money. So law enforcement agencies must focus on the money. We have to take the benefit out of crime. As a key agency tasked with targeting the movement of illicit funds by identifying and dismantling major organized criminal networks, the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency plays a pivotal role in the application of the Proceeds of Crime Act. We do so through partnerships with entities such as specialized units of the JCF, the Financial Investigation Division, the Jamaica Customs Agency, as well as other agencies, local agencies that are a part of the fight. In fact, we have already signed a formal MOU with FID, and we do have one with the JCF and the JCA in the works to be signed shortly. Collectively, we, all of us, work also with international partners. We collaborate with entities outside of our borders because this is a space in which the people we focus on, our criminal targets, operate. They tend to all be transnational. Their operations tend to be transnational, and they are moving resources and monies from areas outside of Jamaica's jurisdiction. So we, by necessity, we have to collaborate with external entities. The release of this aid memoir and cat seizure booklet will guide our law enforcement personnel who are engaged in the fight. It will point them in the right direction and show them how to effectively investigate and deal with money laundering investigations and also cat seizures. The launch of the Poke on You campaign, social media campaign, also shows the critical collective law enforcement efforts and the initiative demonstrates our collaboration in the fight. By equipping our personnel with the aid memoir, we are providing them with increased knowledge and awareness of the Proceeds of Crime Act, as well as a clear guide to its application in the pursuance of their investigation. Our collaborative effort is also sending a strong message to criminals and criminal organizations who are so engaged in these activities that we intend to be aggressive, courageous, and committed in our efforts to curtail the proliferation of illicit funds and other financial crimes. The truth, though, is that we cannot do it alone. The accompanying Poke on You campaign will elicit your support, the support of the public in our fight to defeat major organized crime and money laundering networks. Each and every one of us is impacted by the laundering and movement of illicit funds. And far too many of our citizens are still very much unaware of the POCA Act and its importance in the fight against financial crimes. The campaign will seek, therefore, to educate adults, parents, and their children as we seek to build a culture of intolerance to crime, criminals, and criminality, and to arm the citizens with the knowledge needed to support our fight, collective fight. Please like and share the POCA Public Education Digital Campaign and help us spread the word of this very important initiative. Our success, Jamaica's success, depends on your support. Together, we can continue to fight and make Jamaica a place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colonel Edwards. Two things jumped out at me. I'm always finding notes, right? Because you started off, Colonel, by referencing transnational crime and organized crime. Of course, MOCA specializes in that, right? In fighting it. Yes. You see, one word missing, whole different meaning, right? But you specialize in combating it, in fighting it. And our next presenter, well, comes from Jamaica Customs. We'll get there in just a moment. But I'm happy that you've invited the viewers and everyone to share the various bits of information and the content that will come out of the Poker and You campaign, because we have to start a fire. We have to get people passing it on. So many things go viral, right? And oftentimes so many of the wrong things go viral, or unfortunate things go viral. Let us make anti-corruption, combating organized crime, combating financial crime cool. Yeah? Let's make it cool. Let's get the guns cool. Speaking of which, by the way, Commish, I love that Wanted Wednesday. Yeah, no, like there's so many other days that you will find online, right? There's a special day for Tuesdays, right? But Jamaica has a very special day for Wednesdays, right? And that's what we want to focus on, Wanted Wednesdays, right? It's no longer Stew Peas Wednesday. No, who remembers Stew Peas on a Wednesday, right? It's Wanted Wednesday now, right? But thank you very much, Colonel Edwards. And again, as I said, speaking of transnational crime, it is now time for me to invite to the lectern the CEO and Commissioner of the Jamaica Customs Agency, Mrs. Velma Ricketts Walker.
Thank you so much. Still morning? Yes, so let me change the protocol a little bit and say good morning to you. Good morning to those online, YouTube space, Facebook, and a wonderful good morning to my colleagues here, Selvin A., Major General Anderson, Colonel Edwards, and Sir Gary Dixon. Thank you so much. And just to jump in, yes? Because at one point I'm saying the lone lady left for last, yeah? All right, so there's a different tone. Save the best for last. Well, thank you for honoring me in the week of, it's still the week of International Women's Day? Yes, yes, thank you. All right, so the movement of illicit money very often traverse international borders. And so as a consequence, the Jamaica Customs Agency has an essential responsibility in the fight against money laundering and cutting the financial lifeline of transnational organized crime. Among the core mandate of the Jamaica Customs Agency is the protection of our borders. This is done through the use of our dedicated human resource, with the support of relevant tools and instruments, agreements, legislation, coupled with strong collaboration with our law enforcement agencies and divisions. Our long-standing collaboration with the Financial Investigation Division has proven to be mutually beneficial in curtailing the incidences of money laundering and lottery scamming, and has also been integral in disrupting the free flow of cross-border movement of illicitly gained cash and goods. This partnership has resulted in greater capacity building for customs. And for that, I want to say, thank you to the FID. I am pleased to report that the training that we have received has now evolved to what is now called the Financial Investigation Training and Financial Action Accreditation Program, signaling the serious and advanced nature of the program to which the JCA continues to pledge its support. by ensuring accreditation of our team members. The general feedback from the participants, and I have one sitting right here, our Director of Investigation, has indicated that the information which we have been sharing and information that we have received throughout the training has been beneficial and extremely relevant. But this is a two-way street. And so the Jamaica Customs Agency also provides agency functions for the FID in keeping records of persons who travel through our international airports with significant amount of cash, which either were voluntarily declared or were not declared. So we're watching, right? We're recording. And this enables the FID to track the movement of cash and also to maintain a record of individuals involved in the transportation of cash. As it relates to the cash seizure booklet and the other initiatives of the FID, know that the Jamaica Customs Agency fully supports, and we also recognize that this cash seizure booklet represents a useful guide in our investigative process. So I can't overemphasize the thanks to the FID. Now, what has the Jamaica Customs Agency been doing as it relates to POCA? Over the fiscal year, this current fiscal year, the JCA has investigated 62 financial cases and has been instrumental in the seizure of currency to include $957,564 US dollars. Also, 40,135 pound sterling. Also, 6,435 Canadian dollars. Now I said include, to include, there are others. But importantly, those are investigation. What have been forfeited? And so the period also saw the sum of 207,201 United States dollars being forfeited to the Crown, as well as 17,450 Canadian dollars being forfeited to the Crown as a consequence of the Proceeds of Crime Act. So additionally, the Customs Act also provides the Jamaica Customs Agency with the capability to apply the relevant penalties for non-compliance where applicable. Now, in addition to providing general guidance and information in the investigative process that we receive from the FID, the FID has also been instrumental in undertaking matters which were previously placed in the civil court, but for which forfeiture was not granted, or no order was made for the seizure of this cash, or whether or not the cash should be released. So in order to provide a wider dragnet, these matters are referred to the criminal court for pursuit under Section 101 of POCA. What is this saying? It's saying that we are moving with intention. We are very focused to get the money out of the system, the illicit one, which provides for cash and assets to be seized under money laundering legislation. The most recent case involved the seizure of US $71,000. Again, I said US $71,000, seized from an individual allegedly associated with the cryptocurrency business. And based on the approach, we have taken a multi-agency approach in executing this investigation. It is therefore a strategic decision to continue the collaboration between the law enforcement agency and to continue to build on it, and to coordinate our efforts to provide greater results, importantly, for the reduction of financial crimes. The Jamaica Customs Agency continues to strengthen its mechanism in the prevention of cross-border entry of money, goods, and property, which are proceeds of crime. We will continue to collaborate and to partner with our various enforcement agencies. With our various resources and capabilities, we will seek to stamp out illicit activities. Now, in closing, I have said this before and I will repeat it. The Jamaica Customs Agency has waged war on persons and criminals seeking to use the channels of trade as an avenue to further their illegal and illicit activities. Therefore, be warned. The JCA remains vigilant and will leave no stone unturned as we continue to enhance our border protection capabilities. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Justice Ricketts Walker. And I must commend you on what I've seen, or the JCA, because it's a team effort again, on recent developments that we've seen, and some very good reports in the media space about what's being found, because we're getting those guns, and we're getting that money. And again, we're going to strengthen all of our strategic partnerships to ensure that we can be more effective. So thank you, and to your team for all the work that you've been putting in. Now, ladies and gentlemen, earlier, the FID's CTD, Selvin Hay, indicated that we'd share a little more information about the POCA and You campaign, which goes live next Monday. And I will just give some brief details because the morning is well spent. It's almost afternoon, and I don't want to detain you well into lunchtime. And really, my use of the word detain is not a pun. I promise. I know, right? But a quick background for you. So the Proceeds of Crime Act is a legislation which was first introduced in 2007 and most recently amended in 2019. And we realize that many Jamaicans are not quite au fait with this bit of legislation. In fact, the ignorance is sometimes willful or, in other cases, inadvertent, but it's demonstrated, that ignorance is demonstrated with their attitudes, with the attitudes of persons who are arrested or cited for breaches of the Act. Well, what we realize is that there's an opportunity to educate the populace and by extension bring more of our law enforcement colleagues on board through this campaign. So what are we hoping to achieve? Well, we really just want to increase the public's level of awareness and knowledge of the Proceeds of Crime Act, we refer to it as POCA, and also of the work of the FID and by extension our colleagues at MOCA, at the Jamaica Customs Agency, and certainly the Jamaica Constabulary Force. But I'm pretty sure most Jamaicans know what the Jamaica Constabulary Force is all about. Now, what are the messages that we're sharing? That POCA, of course, is the legislative scheme for the recovery of criminal assets, and that citizens should shun persons who seek to share criminal property with them. You should also, we want the citizens to know that property that they're asked to hold, use, or otherwise interact with was not derived from criminal activities. If Tom thief a shirt and ask if you hold it so somebody else can sell it further down the line, everybody who comes in contact with that stolen shirt, right, stands in breach of the Proceeds of Crime Act. So just be careful, all right? Now, we also want people to recognize that the FID, the JCA, MOCA, the JCF, are trustworthy partners to investigate breaches of the Proceeds of Crime Act. Who are we targeting? Well, truth is, the campaign really aims to meet or to reach 1 million Jamaicans, right, up to the period June 30, 2022. And it's coming from the fact that there's no real obvious trend in the ages of adults convicted under POCA, but one very noticeable exception is in lottery scamming activities. Most perpetrators tend to be males in their 20s. So the campaign has 3 targets: primarily teenagers aged 14 to 19. We want to start the conversation while they're in school and awaken their awareness of POCA and the FID. Secondary target, men aged 20 to 29, raising the awareness of POCA at a stage where they should be engaged productively in academic or professional pursuits. And that is crucial in informing their decision about whether to avoid or continue a criminal lifestyle. And we want to also speak to parents aged 30 to 40. These are generally the parents of adolescent children. And this is an important phase for them to discuss POCA with their children and to provide guidance about making a choice to avoid a criminal lifestyle. We're also aiming at some point in the future to get POCA awareness into the health and family lifestyle education curriculum across our secondary schools, because we have to target the youths them. Let me just break away from the English for a second. We have to reach the youths, because at them same one, I take up gun, at them same one, a thief, a rob, I do all sorts of things. Enough of them just work at some agents for some bigger networks. And the truth is, we have to get them right away. As a matter of fact, there is a trial right now before the Supreme Court, yes, being headed by our Chief Justice, right? And you've heard recordings played in that court case about how the gang them are trying to recruit the youths. So they will replace the parents. Let us step into that gap. A lot of the problems we face are about parenting, but I don't want to go off this morning. Let me just kind of reel myself in as you realize I'm very passionate about this matter, right? So we'll be using a number of channels, right? So we'll be using a number of channels, which will be a mix of traditional media and digital media with a very heavy skew to the latter. And some of the things that some of the media that we're using is that we have commissioned and produced a 13-minute film dubbed Easy Go. And that's available right now for you to watch on our YouTube channel. And we engaged Mr. Kyle Chin, and he is the CEO of Afro-Asian Productions. And Kyle is here this morning. Stand and be recognized, Kyle, right? Because what we wanted to do was to bring to life and to illustrate the dangers of breaching the Proceeds of Crime Act in a way that people can connect, right? And it tells the story of a young man who, I don't want to give it away, but he made an error and he paid a price. And the story is so beautifully written and told by Kyle and the wonderful team of actors. And they're all local. It's a completely local production, shot right here in Jamaica. It's amazing stuff. Please check it out, but please also have that conversation with your children, right? But that's what we are aiming to do, to reach out to our people, to our targets, where they are, with these little black mirrors, these little devices that we walk around with every day. They're tethered to us. It's almost like a new appendage, right? As a matter of fact, somebody said that their cell phone is more functional than their appendix, you know? But you have it everywhere you go. You think about it, and you look at the content that you see online, right? A lot of it shot with these very devices. So we've got to get them where they are. We have to meet them, reach them where they are. And that's what the campaign is all about. So we invite your support. Once you see the hashtag POCA and you, just make sure say you like and you share and you save it and you drop it in your WhatsApp groups, right? And put it everywhere you can. We crave your support. All right, thank you so much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we earlier made mention of the presentation, of the fact that we'll be presenting POCA and you booklets and aid memoirs to the heads of each of the organizations, and that will be done just now. So I'm going to step away from the lectern for a moment, and in a couple of minutes, we just ask that you pay attention to these presentations. For those of you who are watching, particularly our media partners, right, we will be taking questions strictly about this event. Strictly about this event. You can drop those questions in the comment section. All right? Strictly about this event in the comments section. I know that a lot has been happening. It's been a very active day. It's been a very active week. past 2 weeks, really, right? But we're keeping all those questions. We're taking only questions about this morning's event. So you can drop those in the comment section. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to limit yourself to being a part of the media. If you are a member of the public who wants some clarity on anything that we've shared this morning, please feel free to drop those questions. So we're going to put up a holding screen just for 2 minutes while we take care of some stuff on the back end here. And then the next thing you'll see is a presentation being made to each of the heads of the JCF, MOCA, and the Jamaica Customs Agency. Thank you so much.